The market is extremely hot right now, but when the fun does stop, it's not going to be good. If you've been following me for the last year and a half, then you know I hate when people make these videos and these articles talking about how the market's going to crash. And in fact, I've been buying more real estate than ever during this time because I've believed it's going to be good for now. And in this video, we're going to talk about what signs you need to look for so you know when this time is coming. And also, I'll be giving my own prediction on when I think this will happen. So with that being said, let's talk about the different signs you need to be watching for as all this plays out. The first thing you have to watch is the government manipulation. For the last year and a half, the government has used many different tools to prop up the real estate market. Traditionally, one of those tools has always been interest rates. If the government wanted to create more demand for housing, they would lower interest rates. Whenever the economy looks weak, the government lowers interest rates so that it can incentivize people to spend money. To give a quick example of how this works, let's just say at a 4% interest rate, you could afford a $300,000 house. You qualified for that monthly payment on that home. But by lowering the interest rates to 3%, you now qualify for a $330,000 house. And that might be low. You might even qualify for more. But the point is, with the same exact payment, you now qualify for a much more expensive home. And so this increases demand for real estate and people want to upgrade. And it sets off this chain of events. Because prices go up, people sell their homes and they get more than they thought. And with more cash, they're able to go spend more money in the economy. And this is exactly why you're seeing prices of different things go up. So just by the government lowering interest rates, they're able to stimulate the economy and raise housing prices. But they have other types of things they can do, like stimulus. So over the last year and a half, we've seen a ton of different things. They dished out so much free money in the form of SBA loans, PPP loans, unemployment, and the $1,400 stimulus checks. And those are just recent examples. They are going to continue to do different types of stimulus and grants just like those. I remember back when I got into real estate in 2010, they were doing a first-time home buyers grant of $7,500. That helped jumpstart home buying again when people were skeptical after the recession. I've seen different cities and states do their own version of either first-time home buyer or low-income buyer types of grants and down payments. So the government always has those things at their disposal. But here's where things get dicey. Interest rates are at the point where they can't really lower them anymore. Historically, back when rates were at 8%, they had a lot of room to go to keep things running along. But now with interest rates at all-time lows, they would have to go into negative interest rate territory to go even lower. And if that sounds crazy, it's not. Other countries like Japan have done this. The only issue is it doesn't work. Japan's economy has never really recovered from being a powerhouse once upon a time. So don't expect interest rates to be a tool they use going forward to lower payments. Now they can continue to do different types of stimulus and other things to keep it going, but that's not the sign I'll be looking for when I think things are about to get bad. The sign I'll be looking for is when they allow 40-year mortgages to happen. Currently right now, they're letting people with loan modifications get 40-year mortgages. But it's not an actual product that you or I can use to go buy a property right now. I think it will be a product in the near future. And I believe that because they're gonna have to find a way to keep people's payments low. And so if they can't lower interest rate or give people grants, all they can really do is extend the term of the loan to lower payments. And it'll work the same way as the interest rates. Instead of somebody being able to afford a $300,000 home with a 30-year loan, they can now afford a $350,000 home with a 40-year loan. Another thing they could do with loans to lower payment is go interest only. If they completely get rid of paying down principal, it would make the payments extremely low. I don't think that they're gonna do that anytime soon for normal consumers. They do it for investors and rental properties on flips, but it's not a conventional product that the everyday buyer would use. So that'll be the first sign I'm looking for in terms of what the government is doing. The second sign you need to watch out for is supply. So here's the quick definition of what supply is. If you take the total number of homes available in your market and divide it by the number of sales in the last 30 days, that will give you how many months of supply are left. So a quick example, let's say that there's 3,000 homes available in your market and 1,000 of them sold in the last 30 days. That would mean that you have 3 months of supply left. If no new homes ever came on the market, the remaining amount of homes would sell within the next 3 months. So the question is, what kind of supply level should you be looking for? Well, as it stands right now, supply is at an all-time low. Here in Las Vegas, it got to less than 1 month of supply. And so you can see why we're in the predicament we're in. When there's no supply of housing and there's a huge demand for housing, and the government is lowering interest rates to all-time lows, prices are naturally going to go up faster than ever before. So 1 month of supply is not sustainable. It's just absolutely crazy. A balanced real estate market will be around 3 to 4 months of supply. At that level, you're not getting multiple offers on every property. The buyers aren't at an advantage, but neither is the seller. And in turn, when that happens and you hit that equilibrium, prices kind of remain steady. But supply can also get out of hand the other way. Back in 2010, when I got started as a realtor, our supply was absolutely crazy. I don't know what it was at the peak, but I know for sure it was over 9 months. And at that type of supply level, the buyers can pretty much dictate whatever they want. There's so many different houses to choose from, and so the buyer has all the power. And I remember trying to get buyers to purchase homes back then, and it was extremely hard because they knew they could be picky, and there weren't a lot of them. So really, what I'll be watching for when it comes to supply is once it gets to that 3 to 4 month level. I'm not one of the people who are worried about it creeping from 1 month of inventory to now 2 months. To me, that's inevitable that it's going to happen because 1 month is just unrealistic. I'm waiting to see what happens when it finally gets to that 3 to 4 month mark. Is it going to stabilize there and turn into a balanced market? Or is it going to start creeping up even higher past that? Because for me, I'm fine with it at 3 to 4 months. I've flipped many houses at those supply levels. It's actually easier because you don't have people speculating that the market's going to go up so much. There's a lot more agreement on what something is worth and what it's going to sell for because it is probably going to sell for that when you're done with it. Right now, it's harder for us sometimes because you get buyers who are speculating, banking on appreciation. But in a balanced market, people don't usually do that. So sign number 2 you gotta watch for is once it gets to 3 to 4 months of supply and see which way it goes. Now let's assume that supply is going past 3 to 4 months and the government has exhausted all of their different manipulation tactics. That is when things are gonna finally pop. People are gonna try to sell their homes really quick. And because the market is now going bad, people are gonna spend less at businesses. And because businesses are now doing bad, people are going to lose their jobs. And when they lose their jobs, they stop paying their mortgage. And when that happens, people get foreclosed on and supply increases even more. And as we just talked about, when supply increases more, prices continue to go down. So you can see it's this snowball effect. Now, everything I'm saying doesn't happen all at once. It's not like the stock market or crypto where it can just fall off a cliff tomorrow. Real estate takes time for all of these things to develop. So even during these bad signals, you can still make money as an investor. And I know that a lot of people want to look at other factors like unemployment, forbearance, evictions, the political climate. Those all have value, but they're not nearly as valuable as the 2 signs I've already told you about. Now, at the beginning of the video, I said I'd predict when all of this would happen. And here's the truth. It's really hard to predict past 6 months from now. So take what I'm saying as just a complete guess or gut feeling. I believe for the next year, we're gonna have rising prices still. And I think it could be a lot longer than that, potentially 2 to 3 years, just because supply is so low and the government still has a lot of these tools that they can use. And so if I had to put money on it, I would guess it happens 5 years from now. And look, it doesn't take an expert to say that there's gonna be a correction within the next 5 years. That's like saying my hair is red and you should go hit the red subscribe button. Anybody could say that, but what I'm telling you is we've got a ways to go before doomsday happens.